Man, I'm on an epic run today. Really epic run. You know, for a guy that a few weeks ago thought I was going to give this up because I'm talking to myself and I'm just insane, right? I'm talking to nobody. I'm doing a third episode today. So, in case here I'm advertising PC Blonde again. Non-alcoholic beer. I'm thirsty. I've had enough of coffee and non-caffeinated coffee. Time to have a chug. It's not as good as the real thing, let's be honest, okay? But it'll do. So, what was I doing? I forgot what I was going to do here. Anyways, I'm back. Just tidying up some loose ends. One last bit on the trade negotiations. I've got a video here of Carney. He was asked today on what went wrong, and I'm going to share it with you. And tell me whether you believe him or not. I think there's parts that I believe, and some parts that I'm not sure I believe. I listened to it once, gonna give it another listen, so let's let her rip. Make sure the volume's up. Here we go. And here we give her.
Hello, Prime Minister. Mackenzie Gray with Global News. I'm hoping you can tell us what the specific last-minute changes that the Americans proposed that made a deal untenable.
Thank you for the question. Look, I would say two things. One is there are some specifics, and I'll give you some examples, but it was also a cumulative aspect, as I mentioned in my remarks, about the willingness dans l'ensemble in total to enter into a true economic partnership. But in terms of specifics, I'll give you three, and I know there's other questions. First, with respect to the auto industry, both in terms of the level of the tariffs, the treatment of Canadian content, so Canadian parts, Canadian steel, Canadian content in vehicles, the scope of the tariffs. The Americans wanted to limit it to autos only, not include medium and heavy autos and light trucks, to be more specific, not include medium and heavy duty trucks, which is a big change, obviously. And with respect to Ford's new plant, for example, in Oakville, which is F-350s, 450s, 550s, they would have been excluded. GM Silverado, same thing, would have been excluded from that. No rationale, just for exclusion. So effectively moving into a series of terms that would made the production more uneconomic over time. Okay, so that's a change. That restriction, that clarification, that precision was a change.
Okay, so I'm going to break it down bit by bit here. So the Americans changed that. So I still forget the guy's name. The billionaire dude come in, changed what Greer wanted, I assume. So, okay. I'm really trying to listen with an open mind and be nonpartisan. Mind you, I know he should have had this done a year and a half ago, but we're dealing with it now. Okay. So, okay, Americans changed that at the last minute. It's obviously a bad deal. Let's continue.
The U.S. introduced at the last hours, efforts to restrict our ability to have other trade deals. You heard me say a moment ago what we've accomplished in the last year, 20 new deals, economic and security partnerships. The prospect of doubling our market access because we believe in free trade. We're the partner of choice in many respects for countries around the world, and the Americans wanted to restrict that. They had language that they wanted to restrict that. Unacceptable.
Okay, let's look at that. Who would they want us to be restricted with? The only irritant they ever had said publicly was China. And China is, we signed agreements with China, not just for trade, but for security. And God knows what information is being shared between our security forces. So, okay, no, the U.S. cannot tell us who we're going to trade with. But if it's China or Russia, which I don't think we trade with, maybe we do, maybe we don't. I'm not an expert in this area. But, you know, maybe they got a point, especially if we are bringing in like close to 50,000 Chinese EVs, the spy cars that even Doug Ford calls them spy cars. They don't want those going into the U.S. They don't want somebody like me buying a Chinese EV and crossing the border.
And I'll give you a third, et peut-être on peut discuter plus en français.
I notice every time he needs time to think, he starts talking in French. Just to give him time to think of the next thing.
Continual efforts, always resisted, as I said in my remarks, and always will be resisted. Efforts to restrict our protections of our language, our culture, and in effect, our sovereignty. So elements coming in, ramping up, any of them individually, but collectively put us in a position where what had been on a trajectory, absent those elements, for a fair deal, a good deal for Canadians, not perfect, but a good deal, a deal we would not accept.
Follow-up, question suivie.
Was Howard Lutnick's involvement in the last days an impediment to getting a deal?
It's a question for the U.S. administration. Ultimately, I'm responsible for the decisions of the Canadian government. We take it as a cabinet, but I certainly bear those responsibilities, and so the head of the U.S. administration, the president, bears responsibility for the decisions they take. But I will say this, which is that the Canadian team, unified, the individuals you see here, their team members, our ambassador in Washington, my chief of staff, unified, talking together, the clerk of the Privy Council, everyone in the loop, everyone knows what our objectives are, collective decision making. As I say, ultimately, I and the cabinet bear responsibility for those decisions, but unity. You cannot say that about the United States administration. And
so he's pointing the finger that the U.S. was on the trajectory of making a deal, and then this Howard Lutnick stepped in, which he did, and kind of buggered things up. So we didn't have a perfect deal going. We all know that the tariffs were being lowered, not removed, but lowered. And we were going to put the booze back on the shelves. And all that's been in the media. It wasn't a great deal. But this Howard Lutnick, I think he's the one that really buggered it up. Too many cooks in the kitchen in the U.S. But we were conceding left, right, and center. So ultimately, he had to say no because it was a crappy deal. However, I maintain he was the guy that said he was going to get a good deal a year and a half ago. Then said we had the best deal and was going to get an even better deal. And here we are.
as a consequence, last point, and I'll go to your colleagues, because I think this is important. In these last few days, we were drilling down on specific issues that might have been papered over, the differences in the administration, if there were indeed differences. Ultimately, there's a decision maker at the top. And in drilling down on those, a number of those issues that I just referenced became very clear. and there was not a deal that we would sign.
Well, it's also hard to make a good deal when you're in Italy instead of in Canada, or maybe even in the U.S. doing the deal yourself. I don't know. We're in a pickle. We're in it. As I stated in the two shows earlier and all along, I really don't do shows about Trump. Everybody talks about Trump. I can't stand the man. Nobody really can. That's why I don't talk about him much, because I'd rather not. But I don't know. He changes things all the time. So even if we did make a deal, he could just break the deal anyways. He broke Kuzma. But we're also guilty of it on our end too. So, moving on. What did I do? I moved the camera somehow. Alright. Guess it's not showing my head, but you don't need to see my egghead so much. This was a clip that I had yesterday. It's a real quick clip, and we'll give it a listen. It's past tense now.
But Canada doesn't live because of the United States.
Yes, we do.
Canada thrives because we are Canadian.
That's Mark Carney, and he's about to face his second trade deadline of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, it boggles my mind that these leaders, say that term loosely, can go out and say that Canada is unified.
Our country is more united, ambitious, and determined than it has been in decades.
He's got to get premiers to put American liquor back on the shelf, and he had to beg them for it.
I would say to Canadians is leave it there. If we put the booze back on the shelves, don't buy it, let it sit on the shelf.
That's absolutely insane. But we're sitting here and we're trying to say Canada's unified, and you got premiers putting their feelings before Canadians and their own citizens of their provinces. This is why Canada is broken. This is why Alberta independence actually has legs. Is because I see it, you see it, most of us see it, that there's no hope for this country anymore. We can't even agree on putting American booze on the shelves. I'm Berta Proud Dad, sick of Ottawa's bullshit. Wear it with me, BertaProudDad.com.
Well, I don't know about Alberta separating or anything, but I think we're stronger together as a country, but I understand where those people are coming from. I get it. Alberta and Ontario are really engines of the country, right? But I don't know who this guy is, so BertaProudDad.com. All right, well, never saw him before. Just saw the clip, thought I'd share it. That wob canoe. What did I say in the first or second episode today? Yeah, put the booze back on the shelves. Give people the choice, whatever. But Canada is not united, and we couldn't even get all the premiers to agree to put the booze back on the shelf. Anywho, moving on. Ellis Ross. For years, conservatives have been calling for the EV mandate to be scrapped. This is what we're talking about, the EV mandate, sorry. And the Liberals are finally listening. But why did it take the Liberals so long to come to this conclusion when they could have supported the Conservative motion to scrap the EV mandate last year? Now, instead of simply ending the mandate, the Liberals are already preparing new tailpipe emission standards designed to push an EV mandate through the back door. Well, I went through all these comments, and I'm not scrolling through it. I found a very interesting, rather long comment. Let me put on pause for a second. I knew, oh man, I couldn't scroll. What I did was I knew I would have difficulties finding the comment, which was rather long. So I put it into a Microsoft Word document, and because the way I've got my screen all set up, it's all buggered up. The document is taking up my whole screen, and I can't seem to get it to go small. So anyways, we'll just do it this way, and I'll figure it out afterwards. So I can't give the guy credit, the man that wrote this. I entitled this Go Green. That's not what he titled it. But anyways, I'm going to read it because I thought this was very interesting. Swig of fake beer for the working man, women, people. Since the 1970s, legislation has made in Canada start over. Since the 1970s, legislation made in Canada has the automotive. I can't read this. Has made Canada's automotive industry, home heating, appliance industries, and all industries reduce emissions and increase efficiency. And Canada already has the highest efficiency and emissions reduction technology in the world. I should have made this big caps. No more air care tests, as emissions technology now has reduced emissions so much, and technology is that good that there is no emissions problem in Canada, and Canadians are not the polluters of the world. True. Do we pollute? Yes, but not like the rest of the world. Today, over 98% of all personal vehicles in North America are ICE vehicles, after more than 2 decades of EVs in dealership showrooms. I'm not sure what ICE vehicles mean. Alexa, what is an ICE vehicle? ICE.
An ICE vehicle stands for internal combustion engine vehicle. It's a traditional car that burns fuel inside its engine to create motion. These engines work by mixing fuel with air, compressing it, igniting it with a spark, and using the explosion's force to move pistons that ultimately turn the wheels.
Okay. Okay. I feel stupid. Of course it's internal combustion.
Hey, you're not stupid at all. ICE is one of those acronyms that gets thrown around everywhere these days, especially with all the electric vehicle talk. Totally fair question to ask.
Thank you for being on my side, Alexa.
Of course, Shane. That's what I'm here for.
Anyways, I'll continue reading. EVs are not wanted in North America. Not by much. False to say Canadians have not already paid for the highest emissions reduction technology and the mandated highest efficiency in automobiles. This is actually tough to read, but I get the point. Home heating appliances and industries today. The whole net zero is a con job and failed experiment. The Mark Carney-led net zero investment fund failed and was defunded by the big Wall Street investment banks, according to Bloomberg's Financial Post article January 3rd, 2025. Chinese EVs, not green, and cannot be built without oil and gas. Chinese-made windmills and solar panels being installed globally, permanently destroying the environment, tens of thousands of hectares of ocean, land, forest ecosystems, plant and animal habitats for failed electricity sources that cannot be built or sustained without oil and gas, nuclear, hydroelectric, or coal-fired electricity generation. Not green and never have been. The Net Zero China / Brookfield Corporation global $1 trillion wind and solar scam has not only destroyed the environment, it has destroyed economies and industries across the UK and the EU, tripling and quadrupling electricity costs to customers, and they want to add EVs to drain the electric grid? Who destroys tens of thousands of hectares of the Amazon rainforests in Peru for a defunct solar farm? Makes sense, right? I mean, all those trees would be cleaning our air. The WHO destroys the Amazon rainforest to build a 4-lane highway to COP30. Lies and deceptions when humans do not control the earth, its climate, the power of the sun, earthquakes, tornadoes, and anything that is happening on this ever-changing planet. Myself, as a past member of Greenpeace, you do not destroy the environment you are supposed to be protecting. EVs are not green and never have been. Wind and solar are not green and never have been. Packaged and sold to be green when they permanently destroy the environment and are too expensive to build, maintain, repair, or replace, and are only making China and Brookfield Corporation billions of dollars more with every farm built that will be abandoned going forward, guaranteed. Net zero is the biggest scam of the 21st century. Sorry once again for my long-winded monotone voice reading, but that's it in a nutshell. I thought whoever actually did write this, whether it was that person or not, or it was copy and pasted, this is the truth. You know, like those windmills, like those things, when they fall apart, they're just buried in the ground. They just bury them. What is that doing to the ground? And then now we're going to do carbon capture. So we're going to capture the carbon out of the air. And we're going to stick it underground. Does anybody know what that does? Anyway, I sure as heck don't. Anyways, moving on. There's a good picture of a truck getting ready for fall. It's around the corner. Okay, I'll be honest. I used to start celebrating fall in January, but now I wait till September. And that truck there, it's not the exact one, but my dad has something similar to it. I love little red trucks, and I collect everything like at Christmas or at fall or any little thing with little red trucks. It used to be Coca-Cola Santa Claus years ago, but now it's little red trucks. Fun fact that you didn't care to know, but anyway. Well, that's it for episode 3. I don't know when I'll be back. This is a lot for anybody to digest. 3 episodes in one day, and all I've done is talk. I thought it was supposed to rain all day. I had to run uptown in between episodes. Beautiful clear sky. Sky's blue. It's sunny. I thought it was supposed to be miserable. So that's why I was doing this all day. Anyway, at least I sat on my fat ass and just relaxed today. And I got to talk to myself. Because I'm insane. I'm mental. Alright, real quick. I haven't done any jokes until now because it's been a serious day, but it's getting to be time for a real one. What did the buffalo say to his son when he left for college? Bison. How was I supposed to say that? What did the buffalo say to his son when he left for college? Bison. How do you say it? Bison. 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 I'm blowing it. Oh. It's better when I have the sound effects, isn't it? Did you hear about the guy who had his left side got cut off? He's all right now. Oh, God. Anyways, that's enough for me. I gotta go have some other fun today. Thank you for spending some time with me. Hope you learned something. And, hit like, share, subscribe, unsubscribe. No, don't unsubscribe. Tell a friend to subscribe. And watch more than 30 seconds. And, seriously though, right now, all of Canada is really fretting, and we're all in this together, no matter how you vote. And more than ever, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Wishing you many blessings. God bless.